Oh, this is definitely the comfiest chair.
It's just a piece of wood.
Okay. That'll do. Yes. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step to. Today, I'm joined by my dear friend here, Sean. Say hello, Sean.
Hi.
Hi, Sean. We work together, used to, and one of the first things that I talked to you about was music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what we kind of friended over. And at the time, I was doing a lot of crying, and a lot of crying happens when you are leaving people, and you're moving, and there's a lot of emotions going through. And I needed good music to cry to, and this guy knows some real good stuff. So I thought, why not bring him along, and we will discuss music, songs to cry to. Let's not waste any time, let's just get cracking.
Okay.
Would you like to start?
Well, this all started with our bonding over Laura Marling.
That's right.
And so I decided to leave Laura Marling out, because I feel like you made use of Laura Marling probably at the time most. I found that there aren't a lot of times in my life where I've just full on hit a wall and cried to a song, but it's been maybe 2 or 3 times. But I've always had that kind of emotional state where a song gives me that same kind of release where I think other people would cry. You know, that is the emotional feeling of crying. I just sometimes the water doesn't fall out. You know. So most recently, I went through a big breakup as well, and I think for me that I came across a guy called Benjamin Clementine, who's this British piano player with a very theatrical voice, and his song Cornerstone was one that hit me pretty hard. It has that kind of French spoken singing aspect to it, and it's very raw sound. It's just him and the piano, very simple melody, very simple chords, just sort of played very emotionally, very well. Very powerful song. That's my most recent effective cry song.
You did recommend him to me.
Yes.
And
my first recommendation.
oh boy. Yeah, French spoken singing.
Yeah. Well, that's where he got his inspiration from. When I was watching interviews with him, his family went through a huge ordeal moving to UK, because his family, I can't remember where they're from originally, somewhere in Africa, and it took a lot of effort for them to get across. And so when he wanted to become a musician, his parents were incredibly angry. He completely was ostracized from his family because of it. And so he moved to France, and that's when he came across the way that they sing their sort of folk songs, and then he just wanted to do that in his music as well. That's where it comes from. Plus he looks like Beethoven, and yeah, it's beautiful.
I'm going to start with a song that really, really hit for me when I've been going through some bad times at work. And we both have worked at Starbucks in the past, and sometimes working in customer service, when it's that upfront and enthusiastic, it can be really, really, really draining, and you really feel like people are just kind of sucking your soul from you. And so a song that really hit home when I was feeling especially empty is a song by Sara Bareilles called "She Used to Be Mine," and it's from a musical called Waitress, for which Sara did all of the songs. She's one of those singers that will just like hit peaks. Like she'll sing mountains basically. Like she's got this voice that can just like wrap itself around words and phrasing, and just like the strength in her voice is the kind that sometimes you need. Like you want to just like scream out and yell out, and that's what she can do. But this song in particular, "She Used to Be Mine," thematically, it's kind of about losing yourself, because you've given up so much of your own self to helping other people, to your shitty job. This place and this apron and these patrons have taken more than I gave them. So put yourself into your job, and it just takes it all out of you, and it kind of feels like there's nowhere to go. And so it's hoping to retrieve what you used to be, like this person she used to be mine. The deep down, it gets your guts and just like rips you out, and it builds and builds and builds, and I've definitely cried to it many times about, you know, if I'm feeling exactly that way or not. If I just need a good sob song, that's one of my go-tos. Up next.
Up next. All right. What do you think? Another one from recent times. One of my favorite musicians, I think, of all time. Frank Ocean. Frank Ocean is a huge part for me. And he has a song called Self-Control off his recent album, Blonde. And I don't know really what to say about it, but it has this energy, that just kind of gets me in my gut a bit more. And then the way that the song is structured, another voice comes in later on that has a completely different tone to Frank's. And it was such a surprise the first time I heard the song. And it just, because it was so surprising, it just sort of brought out and made much more of a physical connection, I think, for me. So whenever I listen to that song, it's not like the tingles, you get when you even get those when you watch like Pop Idol auditions and things like that. When they hit the top note, you're like, oh, I've got goosebumps.
Right.
I don't know. It's more deep than that. Like it feels more than a tingle. Yeah, it's like a shift inside.
A shudder.
Yeah, it's like that's good. And so that one, that's a really big one for me. But I do find that song can also, I have used it at times for the opposite kind of emotional response. I don't know why. Like for me, it's like a crying song, but it can also be like an uplifting song as well. I guess there are lots of songs like that though. But it depends, I guess, on my mood that I'm bringing to it. I can take it both ways. Not uplifting in the sense of like happy, but uplifting in the sense of, because I connect so strongly with it, I think it can pick me up in that sense.
Oh, this is one. There was a French-Canadian folk singing duo, sisters, Kate and Anna McGarrigle, so the McGarrigle sisters, who are actually, is it Kate? Kate is the mother of Rufus Wainwright.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And like Martha and all that whole gang.
Right. Okay.
So I mean, excellent pedigree going on here. They have a song, Anna sings a song called "Kitty Come Home," and this song, as I found out, was written about Kate when she was down in the States somewhere, I think, and she was having a tough time with her husband at the time. I don't know all the details, but things were not going well, and so Anna wrote this song about her, and using Kitty as a short form for Kate. For anyone who feels like they're far away from things they understand and know, and they feel like they are just broken and just in some totally alien world, it's a message to come home. Just come home to your family, your friends, people that love you and want to take care of you. To have like a family base, or even like a friend family base, you can always come home, and we'll always be here, and we love you, and it doesn't matter where you are, Kitty, come home. And the first lines of the song are no scheme and no direction with only one way to turn. And it's just so, like, sometimes you feel like that. You're like, I have no plan, I have no idea where I'm going, I don't know what to do, I'm completely lost. And, pack up all your things and come home. And
so that's relevant for you now?
It's relevant for me now. It's been relevant a couple times in my life, even if I'm at home, but if I still just feel like I don't recognize myself, I don't recognize what's going on with my life. And the song itself is one that starts really simple. It's just the voice and piano, just very simple, and then it builds and builds with some harmonies, and just gets fuller. I think you've got like 4-part harmonies by the end, and it's great. It's kind of like each member of the family is sort of joining, being like, we're all here to welcome you back home again. Very simple, but very powerful. Something I've definitely cried to many times. many times. Well, that's that one.
Alright. You know how songs always can take you straight back to a place in time? For me, if I hear one song, it takes me right back to a specific place where, I don't know, maybe I was just binging on it at that point. But for me, right after high school, I did a year of traveling abroad through Europe, and I brought far too little money that is practical. And so a lot of it was spent just living sort of dirtbaggish. So for a few weeks I would just camp on the side of the highway and while I was walking between cities. And so I'd spend all day walking. I'd have to get up early because I didn't want anyone to catch me sleeping in their property nap. And I didn't tell my parents that I was doing that. I told them I was on a like an official track with a friend. None of them existed. But then in the middle of the walk, I got a phone call when I set up camp somewhere. I got a phone call from back home because my two best friends had gone to visit my parents and they were all having dinner at my house. And this was like such a lovely surprise, you know. But as soon as the phone call ended, that was like my big sort of moment where I was like, I really, really miss home.
Yeah.
And at the time, I had been listening a lot to Radiohead, who is also one of my top bands. And their song "Stop Whispering" was a huge one for me then, and I kind of latched onto that. And again, it has that kind of energy which you can bring something to it. So there have been other times in my life where I found it really, again, uplifting. But this time, it was a huge, energetic vent.
Yeah.
For that.
Where did you say you were?
I was in Spain at the time. No, I was in Portugal. I was walking across from Portugal to Spain.
Which is far away from New Zealand.
Yes. But
wow.
I can always come home. You know.
I'm not sure I ever knew how brave you were about it. I just didn't know that story.
I was stupid, maybe.
Right, yeah, there's the
But
thing.
you do that and then you don't do that again.
Mm-hmm. The good venting music, the ones where if you can't yourself scream out and cry out and blah, you need someone else to do it, someone with a really, really powerful voice. And one of those people for me has been Jeff Martin from The Tea Party. And The Tea Party, I've mentioned before, is probably my favorite band of all time. They're a Canadian rock band.
I haven't heard of them at all.
Oh my good lord. Tea Party's music is fairly dark for the most part. But they have a song called Psychopomp, which was from their album Transmission, in which they sort of delved into like metal and more industrial sounds. So just kind of grittier, heavier, and down here kind of sounds. A psychopomp is sort of a guide that will tempt you but lead you into the underworld.
Okay.
In various other mythology things. I'm pretty sure we're looking at Greek mythology. So they'll guide you on your way. So as you're dying or venturing into the darker depths of danger, you will see psychopomps and take you on your way. Musically, it has a persistent piano that's just hitting like 4 notes, and it's just quite a staccato, just do 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 do.
Why is that always so powerful?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And his voice, he's the kind that can actually like scream sing, not screamo, and not quite like that, but the scream.
More than a belt,
more than a belt, just a solid like screaming power and fury, and sometimes you really need that because you can't do it yourself. There's Correspondences, which is again about the distance between people. Someone you can't connect with either because they've passed away or you must never see them again. They're far away geographically, whatever. But the messages aren't getting through. And it's a long, long song, but towards the end of the song, Jeff Martin starts singing, "Does it tear you apart, my love, because it tears me apart?" And then again, you've got the like wailing electric guitar that's just, it's using all the sad notes that just tear at your heartstrings. And does it tear you apart? 'Cause it tears me apart. And you just keep going and keep going, and it just drags you through this heartbreak. And the song tears you apart, and so you're just a sobbing mess by the end of it. And that's been a cathartic experience. And as you can see, I get very emotional about them, just thinking of them.
It's nice that like your favorite band ever is from where you're from. I think
Yeah,
pretty,
right?
It's not very common. I was thinking, would the traffic be too loud for the microphone? Would you close the window? There's one song that I find really touching, and It's a Ben Harper song. Ben Harper's another guy that I've definitely had a fair share of binging with. And She's Only Happy in the Sun. Really beautiful song. It's just a really quiet tone song, and he gets his voice. His voice is another one of those ones that has a really amazing range, not in terms of just notes, but in terms of tonality and the type of vibe he can put into it. And he can belt, and he can go really heavy if he wants to, if the song calls for it. But in this one, he has this beautiful, soft quiver about him. Like he's really connected to the words he's saying, you know. And you can tell that this isn't just a song he wrote on a whim. Like this is a very intentional song. It's got this quiet, amazing texture to it, where his voice plus the texture of the acoustic guitar plus the words that he's saying, everything's just this really soft, powerful song that just hits me pretty close to the bone.
Yeah, I don't think I know anyone who sings quite as vulnerable.
That's a good word for it. That's a very vulnerably sung song.
Yeah.
Very vulnerable. Like parts of it where you might, if you heard that type of singing in a different song, you might think it's not good singing even. Like where he's quivering so much that it might sound, I don't know, unprofessional or those kinds of things. Like it's not a technical thing.
No, but
it's more than that. It's a connection to, it's more relevant to what he's doing than if he was to sing with a perfectly clear note.
Yeah. Well, it's raw.
It's raw. Yeah. As cheesy as it is to use that word, like people go, oh, it's raw. I really like this raw, but it's raw.
It is. Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's one that you can do.
Is that what it looks like? And it only lasts that long?
Yeah, probably. Oh, all right. So now we'll get into relationships. And there's a song that I listened to over and over and over at this one particular weird time in my life. It wasn't about losing love, and it wasn't about unrequited love, which is a big theme in my stuff. For the most part, I'm surprised I haven't included anything here. But it's about feeling so much love and not knowing how to arrange it or how to cope with it. And it's a song by Queen. Too Much Love Will Kill You. And the particular time in my life when this became really... I was ending things with a former boyfriend, but was held back a lot by guilt, because it's not always easy to be the one who does the dumping and the breaking up, and you can't just walk away from it, you know. So the guilt is there because you've loved this person so much, but at the same time, unexpectedly meeting someone new, a new lover, a new romantic interest, who you don't want to hold back your feelings, because sometimes you just fall for people, and you can't do anything about it. It's just there.
No one's fault.
It's no one's
no
fault.
Decision, it's just
But the song tackles that weird sort of that weird place where you're in the middle, and you feel the guilt, but you feel the joy of something new. And there's so much emotion that could be good emotion. It should be. I mean, it's love. It's joyful. It's happy things. It's energy. But too much love can really, really, really break you down. I'm gonna... That's the thumbnail. Oh, the thumbnail!
Hey.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. The pain will make you crazy, make you bleed and scream and crawl, and like just so it gets in here and it gets in here and it just like. I used to have a really long bus ride into school, and I would spend the entire bus ride listening to this song almost over and over and over again. But I did have it on repeat, just bawling on the bus. Crying in public? Are you a crying in public person?
I've only ever done it once. Yeah.
Fair enough, no judge.
Hey, I've been told I'm not allowed to cry for my whole life, so I think that's part of my problem. Is I feel that the water just doesn't fall out.
Oh, that's okay.
That's my thing.
Well then, yeah. The feels.
The feels. I have the feels.
And for me, all it takes is just a little boop, and then the water balloon just breaks. And just letting the tears stream down your face, and people are like, what is going on with this girl? But they don't ask, because it's a busy bus first thing in the morning, so whatever. Take it away.
Take it away.
What's the next one?
Okay. There were two that I had to choose between because they kind of had the similar theme, where it wasn't really, it's not like a love song or like a breakup song or something like that. It was more of like a best friend or brother kind of song. So these two are both kind of Thai as well. One of them is literally called Brother by Matt Corby. He's an Australian musician who's just recently he's only released an EP, I think, of like, I don't know, 7 songs or so. But he has a phenomenal voice, kind of like a Jeff Buckley kind of voice.
Oh.
Really amazing range and tone. And this song, it's about a falling out with his own brother and the kind of heartbreak he felt over that. And my brother and I have a very good relationship, but I think just the thought of having that kind of an experience or that kind of emotion to my brother, I think that's one of the things that can unprovoked make me get into a pretty bad headspace, is the thought of like my brother, something going wrong with my brother, my parents, or like my couple of best friends that I have. Like, even if it's irrational, just if the thought comes into my mind, can provoke quite a lot more emotion than I would think otherwise. But yeah, so Brother by Matt Corby. He does a lot of things that you don't really hear in a lot of songs. Like he sings, I don't know, I met some people who don't really like it, but like he kind of sounds like an owl at the start of the thing. He's like hooing, and it's just this really nice note though, and I really love it. And other people thought it sounded silly or not, but I don't know. It's just his voice. He's using brilliant lyrics, really nice and poetic lyrics, really relevant material to me, something I care about a lot, which is my family, and then he combines it with these kind of explorations of his own voice, I guess, and that combination is pretty amazing. There's an acoustic version of this song in particular that he performs just on a balcony for one of these, like, kind of like NPR Tiny Desk, but he does that. There's an Australian radio station that does it. And that version specifically is the one that gets me. And then the other song that is completely different genre, but that has the same kind of sentimentality it's Kendrick Lamar off his To Pimp a Butterfly album. There's a song called You, just the lowercase letter U. And it's got a couple movements in it where the whole song completely shifts. This is one of the reasons I love Kendrick Lamar is people think rap, but if you look what he's doing to it, it's just amazing how he's changing it. But goes through these movements, and he goes to this one phase where he actually, in the studio, I remember hearing the story about it. He came into the studio when they'd been working on a song, and he told basically everyone that didn't need to be there to get out, and he told them to turn off all the lights as well, and he just went in the booth and just didn't come out until it was done. He even pretends basically to be drunk and having a go at his friend. I think one of the lyrics is, "You're the reason why Mum and them are leaving," and these kinds of things. And he's completely in character, and it's just really strong and really vivid. Everyone else that was in the studio apparently was just not only in awe, but like in there with him, in the same mentality, because they were just shocked by what he brought to it. Yeah, so that is a really powerful one.
My last song is a song by Hootie and the Blowfish, which is a band that people don't often talk about these days. They were a big deal back in the 90s and have often been the subject of ridicule, but they have some they've got some really great music. One that's really been effective to me is a song called Let Her Cry. It's a song about being in a position where someone you love a great deal is suffering from something that you can't approach, something that's totally out of your realm, and it's about being helpless really. And knowing that you can't do anything to prevent this person's suffering and pain. So in the song, I believe the subject of the song is a woman who suffers with alcohol abuse and drug abuse and probably some form of depression. And the singer, he sees all these things happening to her and can't do anything to help her. He can't take away her pain. Anything he says, anything he does can't change things as much as he'd like to, but it's totally beyond him. And as a person who has suffered from who does suffer from depression, and obviously that's on one side a very painful thing to be dealing with, but having the other person in the relationship really not be able to do anything, it's painful on both sides, for both people involved and for both sides. I've had past boyfriends and close friends of mine really, really struggle with accepting what's going on with me and just trying to find ways to get through to me and seeing me go through pain, and you can't do anything about it. Let her cry. Let the tears fall down like rain. Let her sing if it eases all her pain. Let her go. Let her walk right out on me. And if the sun comes up tomorrow, let her be. It's a song about pain. Whenever I listen to it, it reminds me of one particular time in my life. Last spring, I was going through a really, really hard time. Just with my own guilt and my own anxiety and panic attacks and mental instability really, really taking over. And there's one moment that I remember having a very difficult conversation with someone and closing the door on him and literally having one of those cinematic moments where you close the door and you're all alone and all you can do is just turn around, your back's against the door, you lean down, you look up to the sky, the ceiling, and you just sob, and the tears just come down your face, and you just, the like ugly crying, the mouth wide open, just the like heaving crying, and you just slide down the door, and you know, head in your hands, just wailing, and that song was a big deal for me at that time, and it helped me through some of those times. For someone who is feeling that, it's a comfort song, you know, because it's from the point of someone who's on the other side, and so they are recognizing that you are suffering, and they can't do anything, but they are going to let you cry. You know, there's no prevention. You can cry, just get it out, and sometimes that's what you need. That's what you need, like a helpful song to just pull it out of you and get that catharsis happening. You know, yeah.
I thought I'd include one here that I consider it to be like a cheesy song, and I'm someone who, I do love music, and I love searching out music that is really I don't know, that I would consider good by my criteria or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think part of what is amazing about some music is relatability, and that's like what we were talking before with these everyday people and these everyday voices that are so hard hitting. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because we find them a bit more relevant, and we can apply what they're telling us much more quickly than you can with some super produced perfect song. And so this one is actually by this guy who had his start as a comedian rapper. He was a comedian first, and then started doing comedy songs in form of rap. And his stage name is Lil Dicky, which is his real name's Dave.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of the songs that it's kind of this pop song, and it has he does it accompanied by the Panic at the Disco singer Brendan Urie, who has a very theatrical and powerful voice, which I think seems to be a bit of a theme here. Mm-hmm. Where you seem to like theatrical singers. Mm-hmm. Wainwright, and Benjamin Clementine, Queen, gosh. So this song is kind of about, he actually uses the title of the song is Molly, and I think that's actually the real name of the person he's talking about. But it's a song about how he had a relationship with this girl, and it looked like the one, that they were going to spend the rest of their lives together, that sort of relationship. And there was also, in the middle of this relationship is when his rap career actually started. And it was a very important part to him because I don't think he realized he could go that way. And then when he suddenly started getting some success, he found that opportunity to explore this part of himself. And I think for them, the song explores this idea where the career actually got very much in the way of their relationship. And even though they had a very, what sounded like functional relationship and they were very much in love, they couldn't negotiate this barrier. And neither of them wanted to put that unfairness on the other, like, well, you can't go on tour and you know, well, I have to go on tour, you just have to deal with it. Neither of those options were fair, and so they ended up, I guess, calling it. And in the song, I'm not sure if it's obviously real life or not, but in the song at least, the ex-girlfriend gets married. And so the song is him dealing with this new husband in the picture and knowing that this is it, it's not there. Even though they very much still love each other, or at least he still very much loves her. Mm-hmm. The chorus lyrics, which are sung by Brendan Urie in his amazing voice, are, it's the hardest rule to follow. I really wish that I could call you. You could find another me tomorrow, and that's the hardest pill to swallow.
Oh God.
Powerful song. And I especially like how it's pretty straightforward. Like, he didn't hide the name, he didn't sugarcoat anything. Mm. He even said things like how he'll never like the husband, you know, like, stuff like that. With these sort of true little nuggets that he's not hiding anything. And so I really like that. And I was actually tossing up before, in terms of like cheesy little songs that have really hit home for me. Another one that I remember from high school days is Blink-182, I Miss You. I think. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Don't waste your time on me. You're already a voice inside my head. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I really love those kind of everyday people who really let you in to what they're going through, and that kind of, you don't always need to be the perfect instrumentalist or the perfect singer to have a song that can really be related to and can be really powerful.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Because when you're in those throes of just distress and trauma and tragedy, it's all raw. It's all there. Like, you are not at your best when this is happening, and to be able to hear someone being not at their best is so like invasive.
Yeah.
You know, it's so real. It's right there, and just it's able to touch you in the same kind of way. So, yeah. I had one more that came to mind, that as far as like cheesy pop songs go. Middle school Jenny
was very cool.
No. Middle school and even high school Jenny. The big thing was unrequited love. And I needed the songs that were about unrequited love because I just had immense crushes that would never work. And so there's a song, R&B, it's nice pop R&B. Brandy has a song called Have You Ever?
I don't know if I know this one.
It's, have you ever loved somebody so much it makes you cry? And have you ever needed someone so bad that you can't sleep at night? And have you ever tried to find the words but they don't come out right? Have you ever? And it just, the lyrics are they're conversational almost. You're so in love with somebody and you just can't get the words out. Have you ever been in love so bad you do anything to make them understand? And yes I have been there. Yes, Brandy, I have been there, and I know you have too. And you just, like, it's your girlfriend chatting with you about her heartbreak and her, like, her impossible state. You know, the state of just, you can't have this person. It won't happen. It's unrequited. You're helpless. Helplessness, I think, is a theme among my songs. Nowhere to go. You don't know what to do. You can't help somebody. Yeah, I used to cry to that a lot. What a downer. What a downer video.
So next video is songs to get happy to. Songs to bone to.
Songs to bone to. Oh, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
I'll need a list from you, please.
Oh, gosh.
And, well, hopefully this wasn't too much of a downer for you. Or check out some of these for sure if you need a little catharsis in your life, something to cry, or if you just need some company. If you're going through a tough time and you need some company, then definitely check out some of these. Thank you so much, Sean, for being in my
pleasure.
video today. Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for watching me and us.
Give me a thumbs up if you like seeing Sean. Lovely, handsome face. Yeah. If you'd like to see more from me, you can click subscribe, which will be over here. There's going to be a little me here. And somewhere over here will be one of my old videos. If you like maybe something you might fancy. That's good.
Get my hips into it.
Oh, yeah. That's great. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much for watching.
Stay groovy.
Stay groovy.
And I'll see you in the next one.
And I'll see you in the not next one.
You'll see me some other
Yeah.
time. See ya.
In the future.